It's summer at the Change Course podcast, and if you've been a longtime listener, you'll know that summer means special episodes. I'm thrilled to be bringing you some of the best conversations that I had on my video series called Change the Conversation. Now, you're just going to hear the audio of these conversations, but if you wanted to check out the video, you can. It's easily accessible on our YouTube channel. So, for the summer, I hope you enjoy these short episodes that are focused on critical topics in change from change leaders who are just like you. And while we enjoy our summer and recharge our creative batteries, I hope that you'll join us for this series of special episodes. We look forward to seeing you back in the fall, and I hope that you have a great summer as well. I'm Natalia Loback, and this is the Change Course podcast. I've spent my career leading complex change and transformation in organizations. And over my career, I've discovered what makes complex, transformational change stick. Connected change is all about leading successful change within the context of the organization. And here at the Change Course podcast, we're all about making change sustainable. So listen in, drop us a like, a comment, and let us know how we can help you connect and change. Welcome to Change the Conversation. I'm Natalia Loback, founder and principal of Chart House Advisory Services, and I'm here today with Nadine Araksi, who is a writer, a story coach, and a marketing savant. Welcome, Nadine.
Thanks for having me, Natalia. It's so nice to be here.
So one of the things I know that our viewers are so interested in, and one of the things I know we have in common is power of story. I mean, stories are so incredibly powerful, and it's one of the things that I lean on and talk a lot about and work a lot with when I'm working through change. Can you tell me a little bit about how you work with story and how you approach story?
100%. Story has been the unifying theme of my life, from my early journals in first grade to my entire career. I had a 20 plus year media career, mostly working in journalism. I became a product manager, which is about user stories, a completely different form of storytelling. If you're in business, you might be telling stories through spreadsheets or PowerPoints. It's all storytelling. And what I love about story is it's a very human, it's how we connect as humans. And story is the thing that we do that separates us from every other thing on the planet, living and non-living, is that we have this innate ability to reflect on our lived experience and to express it, and often in a way that either makes people feel understood or seen, or in ways that share ideas or pushing the envelope or creating innovation, getting people on side. Story is at the root of it. If I say to you, Natalia, I'm going to tell you a story, you're going to lean in.
I am leaning in right away. Exactly, right? And it's so interesting because a lot of the time I'm working with change implementation. So in companies and businesses, saying, okay, we have to make this change and this is how it's going to be. And a lot of times people try to approach it with logic, like this is what we must do because this is the best thing to do and everyone will understand. And story is so important, and trying to help people understand the power of that. I mean, who doesn't want to change when you hear an extremely compelling and exciting story about what the future holds?
Absolutely. Good or bad as a leader, when you think of Apple under Steve Jobs, for example, how much of that was telling the story of the future of technology and the possibility of connection through technology, and how has that changed our lives? We all bought in. So it really comes down to what we believe. And in change management, it's how do you change a set of beliefs of an organization or a group of people to come along for a ride, right? Because it's that whole, I remember an acronym I learned in management early on, which was Cuba. And it stood for know, understand, believe, act, right? You want your people to do something. We often go to, okay, here's the thing, now go do it. But there are steps in between, right? Do they understand? What is the context? Do they believe that this is going to make the change that you're trying to get them to do? And then how they show up, it comes from that place. It's the same thing in coaching, which I know you and I have spent time together in that space, right? It's what do we believe? What are the thoughts and the stories we have that create feelings, that create the actions, that create our results?
And I love that because, one of the things that is so central to the way that I approach change and is different from a lot of others is the feelings piece. And, so many people just gloss over that. They're like, well, logic, it's in your head. It should be like this, therefore it is. And we're humans and we have emotions. And so much of change is really managing those complex emotions that come along with things changing. Whether you're driving it yourself, and a lot of time in organizations, when change is happening to you, because other people are making the decisions about what is happening, that creates a whole host of emotional responses. And emotional responses create stories. Like, how do we talk about those responses, right?
100%. Dr. Laurie Santos, who teaches a course at Yale, I believe, and has a great podcast called the Happiness Podcast. She had an episode in one of her recent seasons called Emotions Are Data. Data.
Yes.
But like, emotions are data. We judge them, good emotions, bad emotions, but really they're just trying to tell us something, right? We have a feeling in the body, often comes from a past experience. We're anticipating what something is going to be like because of a past experience. So bringing it back to change management. If you have lived through a layoff before, if you have lived through a regime change, you have experience and data that's making you anticipate or try to predict what this next change is going to be like. And when you have a big organization, you have buckets of those stories based on past experiences that are converging. And so as leaders, it's so important to really craft that story. Make sure your leadership team is 100% aligned, that they believe, and that's being reinforced in a way that acknowledges your employees' feelings, acknowledges your workforce is having feelings. Don't just go to the logical, to your point, but craft a story that people can understand. So I'll talk about when I was in media, I went through in 2018 a very impactful change where our division of the media company I was working at was being positioned for sale. And while that wasn't announced yet, it was very obvious because we had a layoff of 42% of the staff, like massive layoff, very painful. We don't talk about trauma at work, right? But that can be very traumatic. If you are a team of 10 and 6 of you come back the next day to find 4 people no longer have a job, there's guilt that comes with that. There's oh my gosh, how are we going to get the work done? There's what does this mean for me? And then we start building stories, right? Mm-hmm. If a leadership team has their crap together, they will be able to say, yes, I acknowledge this is painful. I know we're all wondering how we're going to get it done and how we move forward, but we're here and we're going to help work through that. And your ideas are going to help influence what this looks like, right? When we did ultimately get sold, it was very much people were worried about, again, what will this mean for me?
Yes.
And I would say to people, there's a beautiful quote by the poet Rumi that is sort of says, don't worry if your life is turning upside down. How do you know the side to come isn't better than the one you're on? Something like that.
That's beautiful.
I'm destroying it probably, but
all good. I'll make sure that I link that so that people who are watching have a reference. But that's beautiful, and it's true, right? Like we tell ourselves these stories about fear, and let that fear start to tell us how things are going to be terrible, how scared we are, and truthfully, there's opportunity look at things differently. So I am actually going to, we're going to stop here today because I know we have another conversation coming where we're going to dig deeper into how we change our stories and how that can change our results. So thank you so much for being here today.
You're welcome. Thank you so much. I can't wait for our next conversation.
Thank you for listening. If you liked what you heard, I invite you to like, share, rate, and subscribe because it helps others find us. Change Course is brought to you by Charthouse Advisory Services and ConnectedChange.com. Our music is Levity by Emily Clausen. Show notes have moved. We're now at ConnectedChange.com. So visit us there under the Change Course podcast page, and you'll find a list of all the resources that I've mentioned here today. While you're visiting us, sign up for the Change Navigator newsletter. You'll keep on top of all things change, and every month we are sharing exclusive content and resources only with our subscribers. So don't miss out. Sign up at ConnectedChange.com. Thank you for listening, and remember, it's never too late to change course.